Okay guys, so today we're going to take a look at the new Chaos Allure Queen card as it's finally arrived in Master Duel. I've been watching it since it released in TCG as a potential way to spam out lots of rank 7 plays and create some really crazy boards. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can see what you guys are looking forward to as a channel. Now onto the deck list. First, we're running 1 Dark Magician, 2 Red Eyes Black Dragons, 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Black Metal Dragon, 1 Metal Illusionist, 2 Max C, 3 Ash Blossom, 1 Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon, 1 Magnemite, 1 Druis Worm, 1 Allure Queen level 7, 1 Noctivision, 1 Fenrir, 2 Unicorn, 1 Zoa the Fiendish Beast, 2 Chaos Allure Queen, 1 Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon, 1 Metal Zoa X, 1 Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, 1 Nibiru, 1 for 1, 1 Red Eyes Fusion, 1 Triple Tactics Talent, 1 Triple Tactics Thrust, 3 Incoming Machine, 1 Boot Sector Launch, 1 Pressured Planet Wraithsoth, 1 Allure Palace, 1 Kashtira Birth, 3 Allure Dance, 2 Called by the Grave, 1 Max Metalmorph, and 1 Flame Coating Metalmorph. And then for the extra deck, we run 1 Dragoon, 1 Big Eye, 2 Flare Metal, 1 Dark Armed, 1 Volfernages, the Darkest Dragon Doom Rider, 1 Typhon, 1 Link Spider, 1 Anima, 1 Striker Dragon, 1 Hieratic Seal, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Verte, 1 SP Little Knight, and 1 Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. So this is a bit larger of a list than what I normally go for in Red Eyes, but it has the potential to mesh these different archetypes together pretty well. We need to focus on getting many bodies on the field for this engine to work well, and with the fact that there are many negates, many disruptions, I needed to have ways to extend through them as easily as possible. So we are running a very light Kashtira package just to guarantee those baited negates from whatever person we're playing against, and they'll usually take the largest of the heat, and if they don't, they're a free body to extend. So it's just a very light package with the 4 Kashtira cards here. Fenrir can search Unicorn, Unicorn can search Birth. If I start with Unicorn, then I'll get multiple summons, so it's really handy in that way. Most of the rest is very similar to what you see in my Red Eyes decks, but the difference here is I'm running Effect Veiler instead of Imperm. Now, as you guys know, I do prefer Imperm in most cases because it's harder to deal with. It can't be called by the grave, things like that. But in this version, with the Chaos Allure Queen package, it's better to have as many light and dark targets as possible to ensure I always have access to the Allure engine, or at least have a greater chance of having access to it. So Effect Veiler, I run that at 3 instead of the 3 Imperm just to make it easier to get into the Chaos package. Now let's take a look at that. So inside of the Allure Queen package, we're running 2 Chaos Allure Queen, which is one of the new cards. It is a level 7, and in order to special summon it, you discard 1 other light or dark monster, which in Red Eyes we have many of those. Once it's summoned, I target a monster in either graveyard, equip it as an equip spell, and this card's name becomes that name until the end phase. And if I equipped a light or dark monster by this effect, which I will, you can special summon a dark Allure Queen monster from your deck or graveyard. The target for this is Allure Queen level 7. So we actually are going to focus on pulling her out as the partner to Chaos Allure Queen. But as far as targets, so when she targets one in the grave, one of our vulnerabilities in Red Eyes is having Black Metal Dragon interacted with. So it limits our searches. This is our unlimited searcher in Red Eyes. So a typical combo goes Black Metal Dragon, link it away into Striker Dragon, Chainlink 1, Black Metal Dragon, Chainlink 2, Striker Dragon. That way we chain block people from interacting with our Black Metal Dragon, and we can try to block some things there. But there are always opportunities where somebody is able to Ash. Maybe we drew into the Striker Dragon package, Maybe we start to go into darkness metal, somebody ashes, I mean not ashes, imperms or veilers that, so I don't get to have my second search. And that's really frustrating, and it can shut down our combos. But with Chaos Allure Queen, I can target that black metal dragon and grave, equip it, and you see black metal, its effect goes off when it is sent from the field to the graveyard. It doesn't specify that it has to be a monster. So then when I use it with Chaos Allure Queen, I get a bonus search and I get 2 bodies on field. That's one way to use Chaos Allure Queen. If you don't get interrupted, and say you drew heavily into that line, but you don't quite have access to your Metamorph line, I can equip Chaos Allure Queen with Chaos Allure Queen, and the field spell gives her a special effect. And so her bonus effect that is gained is you can send this card equipped with a card by its own effect to the grave, special summon a spellcaster with 1500 or less attack from your hand or deck. What this means is something that's a spellcaster like Metal Illusionist, which gets its effect on normal or special summon, can be an easy, fast search and access into that Metamorph package. And then I can just link away Metal Illusionist into something like Verte. Or I can change it into a dragon and make a Heretic Seal, depending on what I need. So she has some versatility that bridges both the Red Eyes line and the Metamorph line by herself. Other than that, the Chaos Allure Queen package will give you 2 bodies at base, okay, which is her and Allure Queen level 7. But if I get into the continuous spell and field spell package, I can extend that even further. So Allure Dance, you can only activate once per turn, so it's a once per turn thing, but I always want to see it. That's why it's at 3. When I activate it, I add an Allure Queen or an Allure Palace from deck to hand. So I can add Allure Palace and use Allure Palace to, say, fix my hand a little bit. Maybe I drew too many Kashtira. I can send one to grave and get access to my Chaos Allure Queen. But once I summon those 2 bodies, get my search, make both of those into, say, Verte, then I can use the ability, the second ability of Allure Dance, to send another spell or trap I control to the grave. So I can send this field spell to the grave, special summon as many Allure Queen monsters with different names as possible from your graveyard, so both of the 2 that I just sent. And now I have another set of fresh level 7s on field. I can go into Flare Metal, I can go into IP Masquerena, I can go into all kinds of crazy combos. So this really allows me to swarm the board, and what this also allows you to do is play through multiple negates. Now, of course, we are playing with 1 extra brick, being Allure Queen level 7, because she doesn't do anything on her own. So we have 4 total hard bricks in this deck, which is why we run at a 48 card count, which is higher than what I normally run at. But it's very rare that you'll run into that. I've been playing hundreds of duels, and I've only had 1 where I happened to draw all 4. So odds are definitely in your favor. But then in the extra deck, I have lots and lots of Link monsters and rank 7s. So the rank 7s you pretty much know, you're familiar with. I can use Big Eye to help break their boards, especially with all these level 7s coming out on the field. But I've added a few in the line of the Link package. So a lot of people ask me about Anima. Anima is just a good target when you have a lot of level 1s in your deck, which I have Veiler, I have Metal Illusionist, I have Black Metal Dragon. I can link those away, have an effect monster on field, and then I can target, equip a monster from my opponent's side of the field that it points to mine. This will pretty much always guarantee some form of interaction on their board, and so when you're playing Red Eyes, we have to be very methodological about breaking boards in the most efficient way possible. So everything I do, I try to attempt to break that board. Link Spider is very simply, if I summon a vanilla Red Eyes, I need it back in grave, or say I get nibbed, I can transform that into an effect monster so I can easily make something like Verte. The other new ones, you've seen IP Masquerena in some of my builds going into SP Little Knight, but in this version, to add some more protection, after I use Verte Anaconda and I have IP Masquerena on the field during my opponent's turn, I will actually link those 2 away into Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. So when this is on the field, my opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, their monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except for this one, and it always gains attack equal to the opponent's monster's attack during damage calc. So, one, it protects my board. I don't have to worry about things getting beaten over as easily. So that's a good primary focus there. And then it can't be targeted, so it's really hard for them to target negate. They can't really do that easily. It has to be an omni-negate response to that effect. And if I use, say, IP Masquerena, it's going to protect it from destruction, so it still means they have to beat through Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. So it's got a lot of strong counterplay there, but if they do manage to get through it, and they do send it to graveyard by getting destroyed, anything, I can shuffle a card on the field into the deck. So I can, and it's non-targeting, so I can send whatever card they used to deal with it back to the deck, so they neg off of the actual removal. So it's just extra protection in this line. It's a bit complex of a deck, but I think you guys are going to best see it in action. So I'm going to run through some combos, and make sure you watch too, because I'm going to have a few high-level gameplay videos coming up in the next few weeks after this. But let's jump in. Okay guys, so I'm going first this time. I don't have many great interruptions, but I do have full access to the Allure package. I have Kashtira Unicorn, and I have Metal Zoa X to go ahead and set one of my Metamorph traps. Unicorn is a pretty strong negation piece, so I'm going to go ahead and activate it. Let's see if we can bait some things. Nothing yet. Activate. Do you have an Imperm? They don't. Okay. So no Imperm was used here. Go ahead and go into Birth, so I have it for follow-up. I'm going to bring out Allure Dance. I will add to hand Chaos Allure Queen. I'm going to activate Allure Palace. And as you can see, I have Talent in hand, and I also have Metal Zoa X. So Metal Zoa X will easily get me into the Metamorph package as I need it. And Chaos Allure Queen will just go ahead and start summoning, and I can keep Talents in hand. I haven't seen any interruption thus far, so I think it's honestly going to be better to get rid of Talent to continue. So we're going to do that. Bring that Allure Queen to hand. We're going to check once more for a bait with Metal Zoa, setting max. Nothing, okay. We're going to use Chaos Allure Queen here. Equip. Special summon. Okay, now we need to start building our board. So we need Predaplant, Verte, Anaconda. So we're going to go this and this. And I also want access to my Metamorph package, so I'm going to use Allure Queen to get access to that. This will give us double Metamorph support. Illusionist. Okay, perfect. I'm going to use Birth to resummon that Kashtira Unicorn. And then I'm going to use Allure Dance, sending Allure Palace to revive both Chaos Allure Queens. Okay. Now, we have a few options here. Obviously, we have Dragoon access at the moment, but if you notice, we don't have anything in hand currently. So, Dragoon can come out and we'll have it for blowing up things on their board, but we're not going to be able to pull most of our protection from Dragoon in this case. So what this means is we really need that Metamorph package to put in some serious work. So Metal Illusionist is easily going to make one of the items, super easily, okay? The other is going to have to come from the existing cards on field. So if I go as is, Metal Illusionist will make one, but the rest of this doesn't have access to, for example, Full Metal as is. So the only way to do that is if I make one of these Flare, and then use Flare Metal's effect during the draw step after Protoplant Verte Anaconda sends one there for Dragoon to have access to double Metalmorph. So that's what we're going to try to set up in this situation. So we're going to go Flare Metal. Okay, and we'll leave Unicorn just as another follow-up negate. And Metal Illusionist, it doesn't matter what it is, but just in case we have any issues, I'm going to go ahead and make it a dragon just to deal with things. Alright, we'll use Verte's effect, Red Eyes, Dark Magician. Okay, so we have our board set up. Anaconda is still a vulnerability, so we're going to have to rely to protect it on Flare Metal Burn, Kashtira Interruption. Dragoon just has target protection, but it is not a negate piece here. It was just summoned to get access to Red Eyes and Grave. Metal Illusionist will turn into a Metalmorph, as will the Red Eyes that we summon. So we're going to go ahead and pass on that. Make sure you're toggled on. During the draw step, Flare Metal effect. Always detach the Allure Queen level 7 because you have the other Engrave, so if you need to extend later, you still have access. Psyframe Gamma, okay. So that is going to negate the summon from Flare Metal, which is very annoying, and that's going to mess us up a little bit. So what we need to do, knowing that that has happened, is use this gap to go Metalmorph on Metal Illusionist to make Full Metal, because that Flare Metal is not going to be able to summon. And since they didn't have an interaction before, that means their draw for this turn was Psyframe Gear Gamma. Equip. There you go, 1, 2. Now they'll burn. Okay. And then Unicorn's effect now goes off and we can see what they're playing. Flame Coating Metalmorph is not a dead card because after I negate with Full Metal, I can then use Flame Coating to go into Zoa to start popping things. Alright, looking at this, they have Electromite, so they're playing something with Pendulum. So I have to decide, what is the biggest threat here? Is it Electromite? No, not really. So the biggest threat is them going into something big enough to beat over my board, which with this package is very easily doable with Borreload Savage. So I'm going to go ahead and remove Borreload Savage, saying that they already have easy access so that I don't have to worry about that card. So I'm going to remove it. Okay, and then continue. Okay, they're playing a Zephyr pile. So here, it lets them add a Zephyr monster. I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to let them activate some effects and burn. Pendulum are notoriously effect heavy, so they're going to take some damage. Okay, effect. Let's see what we got. So here, this one is targeted Zephyr in the Pendulum Zone, special summon it, I don't care about that. This one, add a Yangzing, so that one I do care about, but they have chain blocked it, so I can't easily respond. So we'll let it go through, and they'll just take 1,000 damage. Okay. Add a Zephyr card, except for Zephyr Province. So that gives them protection to Grave. I really don't want them to add the negation trap to hand because it bounces a card to deck, which is annoying. So I'm going to use Full Metal to negate and burn them using Psyframe Driver as the target. And in response to the activation, Full Metal has already gotten its negate off, so I'm going to tribute it with Flame Coating to get access to Zoa. So now I get 2 pops. So when they activate an effect, I can remove the card. So here I'm going to remove Electromite in response. As you can see, that's a link too, so they would have had access to that Borlode Savage. Halka Fibrax. So a lot of people pop here, but it's really not best at this moment. So we're gonna wait, let them go ahead. They're gonna burn, and Auroradon comes out. This is where we're going to pop. This should mess them up pretty severely. They're out of effects, and they die. Okay, so here we're going second. Cuckoo Clock. Okay, so they're playing Labyrinth. Big welcome. Cuckoo, special summon. Alright, we do not want them to get any searches here. We're going to Ash that. Alright, they activate Area, so I'm going to go ahead and Magnemite that. No free summons in this place. Well, let's see if they set 2 and pass, but at least I'll get a search off Magnemite. Wow, okay, 2 monsters in hand. That's a rarity. Okay, I need to get access to as much of my line as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and get Black Metal Dragon. Okay. Draw. Got called by. Okay. Max C, we do not need them drawing into anything, so I will respond. Called by on Max C. Labyrinth is a deck that if you give them the opportunity to draw cards, it will be irrecoverable. There's too many hand effects. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and activate Allure Dance. Add a card to hand. So, I want to be able to have access to the full package, so I'm going to bring Allure Palace to hand. Activate Allure Palace. I'm going to activate Allure. I'm going to send Allure Queen, the regular one, to grave. Add Chaos Allure Queen to hand. I have access to the Metal Morph without Metal Zoa, so we're going to go ahead and send that sucker to grave. Add Chaos Allure Queen. Alright, now let's go ahead and go into the Black Metal Dragon line. Striker. Remember, we're going for OTK here, so we want to use as much as possible. Alright. Black Metal, Chain Block, Striker Dragon. Alright, we got Boot Sector. Darkness Metal. Darkness Metal. Banish. Special Summon. Activate Effect. Special Summon Black Metal. Okay. Now here, we've got to extend as much as we can into this board. So just in case they have Nib, I'm going to go ahead and make Heretic Seal here. Black Metal. Black Meteor. Black Meteor effect, sending Red Eyes to grave. Alright. Then we're going to go ahead and use Chaos Allure Queen. Alright. And here we have a few options. So I can go Black Metal. I can get access to my Metal Morph trap, but I can also just search it off of Black Metal as well. If it bothers me. We're just gonna search. Yes. Yeah, alright, we're gonna do this. Okay. Flare Metal here. Black Metal effect. Flare Metal effect. Detach the one of Allure Queen. Red Eyes here. Full Metal to hand. Full Metal effect. Set Max Metamorph. Link Spider here. Verte here. Alright. Allure Dance effect. Sending Allure Palace. Special summon both Allure Queens back. Second Flare Metal. Activate effect. Detach her for follow-up later on. Okay, so here, we have tons of accessibility. We could, go ahead and make something else to fight them with, which might not be the worst idea. Maybe Volophernages, just in case. But either way, we're going to make Dragoon. So we'll do this just in case they have a quick effect we want to deal with. If this was first turn, I'd go IP Masquerena here, but it's not. So this is a quick effect because I do have a dragon equipped, which is Red Eyes. I'm going to go ahead and activate Verte's effect. Summon Dragoon. I do have a card for discard. Activate effect. Pop Cuckoo. Move into battle. Should have more than enough to kill them here. So as you guys can see, this deck really does have a lot of potential. You can summon so many things that it's really hard for them to completely stop you from making some plays. In the worst situation, you're making Dragoon. In the best situation, you have a massive board flooded with tons of boss monsters. I'll be following up this video with lots of gameplay, so if you guys really like Red Eyes, but you're not really feeling Primite, make sure you give this deck a try and see what you can do. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time.